It's the MLBbro Show podcast. Here's the gambler, J.R. Gamble.
You're rocking with the MLBbro Show, where we bring you the latest and greatest in black and brown baseball players. Lock in with the Gambler, D-Grub, and Crit. Let's get it. This is the rundown, baby. This is the rundown,
The Black Bats are on the rise. J.P. Crawford and Justin Upton coming alive. Cedric Mullins, Tim Anderson still crushing pies. And Marcus Semien added to the Blue Jays makes him thrive. He's hitting homers and clutch ones. Mookie was in the doldrums, but the former MVP's popping up like when the toast done. Fourth among outfielders in all-star voting. And the Dodgers are still winning in a tough division. Aaron Judge and Giancarlo Stanton catch so much grief. It's them damn Yankee fans that always want to beef. But these MLB bros are stroking and hoping the rest of the team can catch fire like dirty bullpens. They both crank homers and bang like the showmen. And Dylan Thomas got busy, maybe it's an omen. 10 years in the minors and he comes out smoking. Another black night swinging, singing like the soul men. Last but not least, can't forget the veteran Michael Brantley, who's still hitting like a disciple of Tony Gwynn. Solid contact and a high OPS. Just believe in the best. They'll be relieving your stress, leaving bases in the mess with athletics that's blessed. So profound, we go brown and lay it down. Up the third base line as they dive into the crowd with Ken Griffey Jr. in mind. Trent Grisham without a frown. Josh Harrison still pounds cause it's the rundown. Yup, the rundown, baby. The rundown. And Cedric Mullins is an all-star. No ifs, ands, or maybes.
It's the Black Ace Report. The Black Ace Report. It's the Black Ace Report. The Black Ace Report.
This is a solemn moment for the Black Ace Report. We lost a Mal Marada who was killing the sport. Jack Flaherty was on his way to 20 wins, but now he's sidelined and he got no wins. A serious oblique injury, damn, he's finished. At least that's what the Cardinals say for a hot minute. They're fighting for first place and they lost their ace. Another Black Knight who won't be showing his face. Seattle Mariners pitcher Justin Dunn returned to the mound, and that's good news. He gave up 5 runs, but no need to sing the blues. It was the first time in 15 quality starts that he gave up more than 3 runs in a ballpark. He's got a great future, and he stays on maneuvers. But over in Flushing, we got the sharpshooters. 2 Black Knights making history. Fly Ty Walker and Marcus Stroman are throwing peas and making hitters buckle to their knees as the Mets take first place in the NL East. We've never seen 2 brothers smother opposing hitters like this together when they're toting the rubber. No longer is black history a mystery. It's such a splendid sight for young black players to see. And there's even some who say we're being divisive, cause we praise Taylor Hearn just for not being light-skinned. But it's deeper than the color when you're a soul brother on the mound with the ball breaking ground. The Black Ace Report.
We're changing the culture, one at-bat at a time. We're changing the culture, opening up your mind.
Changing the culture, one day at a time. Major League Baseball is changing the culture with its diversity programs aimed at connecting underserved and minority kids to the game. Those kids that are outpriced and outsourced by travel teams and expensive club teams that they have to pay for, and therefore sometimes they don't have the money to participate, so they can't play, and that changes the game. We want the culture to be all inclusive, especially the young black kids who want to be young Black Knights. So shout out to these particular MLB diversity programs who's helping to change the culture. Plant a seed and watch it grow like the Breakthrough Series. It starts to go. Let's gather the best 60 minority players and introduce them to the game with majority flavor. Bring them to Vero Beach, Florida for a week of baseball heaven where they learn from the pros, the all-stars and former veterans. Hall of Famers dropping jewels to teenagers. They get the pro treatment, locker rooms, uniform, where knowledge is no secret. Dave Winfield, that's Ken Griffey Jr., you wouldn't believe it. There's Luke Collier, Reggie Smith, and Marvin Freeman. Tom Flash Gorman. Tony Regan's trying to grow the game. Patrick Mahomes Sr. still sharing despite his son's NFL fame. Hitting and fielding and listening and building a baseball foundation that's very appealing to scouts and colleges and the entire job market. There's so much opportunity if you can hit the target. A week of work, burning, games and higher learning, speaking truth to the black baseball flag that we're adorned with. And most of the brothers who get drafted to the show have participated in one of MLB's diversity flow. Breakthrough Series, Dream Series, or Hank Aaron Invitational. There's so much black talent and the memory sensational. Changing the culture one day at a time. Changing the culture with the game on my mind. The Breakthrough Series, Hank Aaron Invitational, they shine. Young black brothers, looking out for one another. MLB, thanks for the grind.
It's those classic hits with David Grubb on MLBbro's podcast. It's those classic hits with David Grubb on MLBbro's podcast.
I know you missed me because I missed you, but we're back. I'm David Grubb, and this is Classic Hits on the MLBbro.com podcast mixtape. Last time on Classic Hits, I highlighted one of the most intimidating pitchers ever in J.R. Richard. This week, we're talking about one of the most intimidating sluggers of the 1980s, Jeffrey Leonard. The overall numbers are respectable. In 13 seasons in the major leagues, Jeffrey Leonard collected 1,342 hits. He hit 144 home runs and had nearly 800 RBIs. But numbers can only tell so much of the story. Jeffrey Leonard was another one of those ball players that came up the hard way. A native of Southwest Philadelphia, Leonard signed as a free agent with the Los Angeles Dodgers in 1973. But he didn't get his first trip to the show until 1977. While he was down in the minors, he earned the nickname Hackman because of his habit of swinging at the first pitch, no matter what it was. Jeff Leonard also got a reputation for his fiery style in the clubhouse. It was a style that kept too many teammates from ever really getting close to him. Baseball might be a game, but Jeffrey Leonard was all business. After nearly 5 mostly forgettable seasons with the Dodgers and the Houston Astros, he was traded to the San Francisco Giants in 1981. Finally, in 1983, Leonard got his chance to play almost every day. In 84, he made a name for himself, posting a career-high .302 batting average with 21 home runs and 86 runs batted in just 136 games. Over the next 5 seasons, he batted .276, hit 84 home runs, and drove in 340 RBI. In the 1987 season, Leonard was one of the key members of the NL West champions, making the All-Star team for the first time of his career. The Giants would go on to advance to the National League Championship Series and face the St. Louis Cardinals. Leonard went on to give one of the greatest hitting performances in postseason history during that series. In 7 games, he had 5 runs, 10 hits, a league championship series record-tying 4 home runs that he hit in 4 consecutive games, 5 RBI, and my man carried a .417 batting average and a slugging percentage of .917. Though the Giants lost the series in 7, Leonard was named MVP of the NLCS. No member of a losing team has done it since. America also got familiar with Leonard's distinctive one-flap-down home run trot. Every time he sent one over the fence, Leonard took his time rounding the bases, keeping his left arm right down by his side. It took somewhere around 20 seconds for him to get back to home plate. It was swag personified. And for those who asked, Leonard said the arm down just meant that pitch meant nothing. Nothing. Leonard and Giants star Will Clark began to feud, and eventually Jeff got traded to the Milwaukee Brewers the next season. He would make the All-Star team one more time in 1989 with the Seattle Mariners, finishing that year with a career-high 24 home runs and 93 RBIs. That year, the Mariners brought up a kid, the kid, Ken Griffey Jr. Not a bad way to end your career. Today, Jeffrey Leonard spends his time teaching the game and running his charitable foundation, fittingly named the One Flap Down Foundation. It serves to help single parents who are going through breast cancer treatment, something Jeff experienced with his own family. Jeffrey Leonard did it on the field, and he's continuing to do it off the field. He's this week's Classic Hit.
And there's nothing you could do, we on the come up, ay.
There's some brothers on the come up in the MLB, And they really doing big things far as I can see. There's the big names that you already know, but there's some fresh out the box knocking MLB bros. There's some brothers on the come up in the MLB, and they really doing big things far as I can see. There's the big names that you already know, but there's some fresh out the box knocking MLB bros. Derek Hill's in the show for the first time. He's 25 and he's ready for that show grind. He spent 7 years getting his skills sharp in the minors, and now he swings a bat that cuts through barbed wire. And young Daz Cameron, the son of Mike, who played for 17 years and had to 78 times around the bases. He hit like explosive landmines. Relax, young Daz, it's all in due time. Now he's hoping for the same lucky charm. When Cameron hit his first homer, Dad rang the alarm. Look out for this kid, cause he's got pedigree. And Dylan Thomas is another rookie you must see. Don't forget Taylor Trammell and Khalil Green of the Mets. Don't fret, we'll always get your steps right. And cross town, Chris Giddens living his best life with the Yankees. All this black and talent is promising, and there's more coming down the pipeline. There's no stopping them. We coming, the come up. MLBbro.com with the come up, the come up. So ring the alarm, it's the come up.
Extra base power.
What's up, everyone, and welcome back to another edition of Extra Base Power here on the MLBbro Show podcast. As always, I'm Crit, here bringing you some of the best things that I've seen from black and brown players throughout the game of baseball this week. All-Star season is upon us, and we have a really good chance of having not only one, but multiple MLB Bros in the All-Star game starting lineup this summer. The first results from the fan voting were released this week. Second baseman Marcus Semien and outfielder Byron Buxton were among the top vote getters at their respective positions. Both Semien and Buxton are in the midst of career seasons, and the show in the voting, with Semien receiving 34% of first place votes at second base. Those two have the best chance at starting, but we still have multiple Bros in contention. Mookie Betts and Cedric Mullins also in the running, but they'll need some help from the fans to jump into the top 3 spots in their respective positions once the first period of fan voting ends in a few weeks. The game itself will take place on July 31st at Coors Field in Colorado. It was originally scheduled to be played in Atlanta, but was moved by the league after the state of Georgia passed a new voting rights bill that many were not in favor of. Very seldom in sports do we get a perfect match, but Tim Anderson and the Chicago White Sox are a match made in heaven. The Sox, as you may know, represent the south side of Chicago, the more gritty, tougher part of town, but it's shown some flash over the past decade with the emergence of popular rappers like Chief Keef and Lil Durk. Now Anderson, he brings all that into one. He's made headlines over his career with walk-off home runs, insane bat flips, and tough plays made in the field on defense. The team recently released a bobblehead with him and one of his famous bat flips, which shows that they're embracing him and the swag that he brings to the diamond. As far as the city goes, they're starting to embrace Anderson and his teammates as well. The Sox currently sit in first place in AL Central. So now we see the Silver Slugger that lead his team to a World Series championship start to cement himself as a Southside legend. And that's all for Extra Base Power this week on the MLBbro Show podcast. Make sure you tune in next week for more coverage of black and brown players and the MLB. As always, I'm Crit. Thanks for listening.
That concludes another episode of the MLBbro Show podcast mixtape for this week. Remember, we will gladly pay you on Tuesday for an MLBbro doubleheader today. The heart of the game lies in the diversity of the game and the spirit of black baseball that dates back to the Negro Leagues. I, the Gambler, your friendly neighborhood diamond checker, making sure that you stay on top of the game and in touch with the soul of MLB. See you next week, ladies and germs. We out of here. Drop the mic, please.
MLBbro.com, covering black and brown major league.